sit in this dimly lit room, my hands shaking as I hold the old wedding photo of Frank and me. The frame is scratched, the glass smudged from years of handling, but I can still see us, young, hopeful, standing under that big oak tree at the county courthouse. He's got that shy smile of his, the one that always made my heart skip, and I'm beaming like I've just won the world. Now, though, the edges of the picture are curling, the colors washed out, and my chest feels heavy as I trace his face with my thumb. "Frank," I whisper, my voice breaking like dry twigs underfoot. "You know what they did? The kids, they kicked me out." My words hang in the air, swallowed by the hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. It's been 3 months since they dumped me here at Shady Pines Nursing Home, a place with peeling paint on the walls and a lingering smell of bleach and regret. 3 months since they sold our house, the one we poured our lives into, and left me with nothing but this photo and a suitcase full of faded clothes. I talk to Frank a lot these days. It's silly, I know. He's been gone a year now. But it's the only thing that keeps me tethered, keeps me from drifting away entirely. Let me take you back to how things were, before the world turned upside down. Frank and I, we weren't some fairy tale couple. He'd come home from the factory, his hands rough and stained with grease, and I'd be in the kitchen, fussing over a pot of stew or chasing the kids around. We'd bicker sometimes, him about my tendency to oversalt the potatoes, me about the way he'd leave his muddy boots right by the back door where I'd trip over them. But we made it work. We had a life, a real one, in that little house on Maple Street. 2 stories, white siding, a porch swing Frank built himself one summer when the kids were still small. We raised 3 of them there, Emily, Kyle, and Olivia, and every corner of that place held a piece of us. Emily came first, all fire and determination even as a toddler. She'd line up her dolls and give them orders, and by the time she hit her teens, she was organizing family vacations down to the last detail. Kyle was next, quieter, softer around the edges. He'd trail after Emily like a shadow, never one to rock the boat. And then there was Olivia, my youngest, my dreamer. She'd climb into my lap at night, her little voice spinning tales about the constellations she saw out her bedroom window. I gave them everything I had, every late-night fever I nursed them through, every school play I clapped the loudest for, every scraped knee I patched up with a kiss and a Band-Aid. Frank worked long shifts to keep the bills paid, and I held down the fort, stitching their Halloween costumes by hand and baking birthday cakes from scratch. We weren't flush with cash, never took fancy trips, but we had enough. We had each other. I close my eyes, and I can almost smell the Sunday dinners we used to have. The kitchen would fill with the sound of clinking plates and laughter, Frank carving the roast while I passed around the mashed potatoes, the kids squabbling over who got the crispiest piece of chicken skin. Those moments feel so vivid, like I could step right back into them if I tried hard enough. But then Frank got sick. It crept up slow, a cough that wouldn't quit, a tiredness he couldn't shake. The doctor sat us down one gray afternoon and said it was lung cancer, said we had months, not years. I held his hand through every chemo session, every sleepless night, until one morning I woke up and he was just gone. His side of the bed was cold, and I sat there for hours, staring at the empty space where he should have been. That was a year ago, and I thought losing him was the deepest cut I'd ever take. I was wrong. The funeral was a blur. Flowers I didn't pick, hymns I didn't choose, people patting my shoulder and murmuring things I couldn't hear over the roar in my head. I was still lost in that fog when the kids called me into the living room a few days later. Emily sat at the head of the table, hands folded like she was about to run a board meeting. Kyle slouched beside her, picking at a loose thread on his sleeve, and Olivia perched on the edge of the couch, eyes fixed on the floor. "Mom," Emily started. her voice steady. "We've been talking. You can't take care of yourself anymore. The house is too big, too much work for you now that Dad's gone." I stared at her, my throat tight. "What are you saying, honey?" I asked, my mind racing. I thought maybe they'd offer to move in with me, or help me hire someone to keep the place up. But then Kyle spoke, his words stumbling out. "We're selling the house, Mom. It's for the best." Olivia didn't say anything, just twisted her fingers in her lap. I felt like the room tilted. "Selling the house?" I said, my voice climbing higher than I meant it to. "That's our home. Your father and I built that place from nothing. You can't just—" Emily cut me off, sharp and final. "It's already decided, Mom. We found a facility for you. It's affordable, and they'll take care of you." My heart pounded in my chest, and I looked from one face to the next, searching for a crack in their plan. "Please," I said, tears spilling over. "Don't do this. I can manage. I'll figure it out. Hire help, whatever it takes. Just let me stay." I reached for Olivia's hand, but she pulled away, mumbling, "It's better this way, Mom." Emily shook her head, and Kyle wouldn't even look at me. I begged them, my own flesh and blood, until my voice gave out. But it didn't matter. They'd made up their minds. A week later, they showed up with boxes. Emily directed traffic while Kyle hauled my things into a rented van, and Olivia hovered by the door, avoiding my eyes. They drove me here, to Shady Pines, a name that promises more than it delivers. The building's old, the kind of place where the heat barely works and the windows stick shut. They dropped me off with a quick hug. Emily's was stiff, Kyle's awkward, Olivia's barely there, and then they were gone. I found out later they sold the house for a decent sum, split the money 3 ways, and didn't leave me a dime. 68 years old, and I'm stuck in a room that smells like antiseptic and forgotten dreams, with a lumpy mattress and a view of a parking lot. The first night, I sat on the edge of that bed, my suitcase still packed beside me, and I cried until my eyes burned. I kept replaying every moment I'd ever had with them, every sacrifice, every time I put them first, and wondering where I went wrong. Maybe I'd spoiled them too much, or not enough. Maybe I should have seen this coming. The days here drag on. Breakfast at 7, watery oatmeal and weak coffee. Bingo at noon with people who don't talk to me. Lights out at 9, whether I'm ready or not. Emily sends a check every few weeks, just enough to cover the basics, probably so she can sleep at night. Kyle calls sometimes, his voice halting, like he's not sure what to say. Olivia hasn't come by once, and I tell myself it's because Emily's got her under her thumb, but it still stings. I look around now, at the chipped nightstand, the thin blanket that doesn't keep out the chill, the walls stained with years of neglect, and I feel it all crashing down on me. My fingers tighten around Frank's photo, pressing it to my chest until the edges dig into my skin. "They think I'm done, Frank," I murmur, staring up at the cracked ceiling. "They think I'm weak, some old woman they can shove aside and forget." A bitter laugh escapes me, small and sharp. "But they don't know what you left me, do they? They have no idea about your secret." The days at Shady Pines don't just pass. They crawl, slow and heavy, like time itself is mocking me. I spend most mornings parked by the window in my room, staring out at the cracked asphalt of the parking lot. I watch cars come and go, their tires crunching over gravel, and I let myself imagine one of them might be Olivia's little blue hatchback, the one she saved up for her first year out of college. Or maybe Kyle's rusty old pickup, the one he's too stubborn to replace. Sometimes I even picture Emily pulling up in her sleek silver sedan, the kind of car that screams she's made it. But it's never them. It's always someone else's family, sons and daughters who actually show up, who bring flowers or a warm coat or just a smile. The sunlight barely filters through the streaked, grimy window pane, and I end up staring at my own reflection instead. Gray hair scraped back into a messy bun, deep lines etched around my eyes and mouth, a face that's starting to look like it belongs to someone I don't recognize. 68 years old, and this is what I've come to. Frank's photo sits on the nightstand now, propped up against a chipped plastic water cup because it's the only thing I've got left that feels like mine. I talk to him more than I should, whispering to that faded image like he's sitting right here beside me. "You'd hate this place, Frank," I say one morning, my voice barely above a rasp. "The oatmeal's cold, the coffee's weak, and the nurses act like I'm a nuisance for asking for an extra blanket." I pause, glancing around at the beige walls, the water stains blooming across the ceiling like ugly flowers. "You'd hate what they've done to me most of all. It's been 3 months since the kids shipped me off here. 3 months since they sold our house on Maple Street, the one we built with sweat and dreams, and left me to rot in this cheap nursing home with its peeling paint and a smell that's part bleach, part despair." I keep his picture close because it's the only piece of home they couldn't take. The only thing that reminds me I used to be more than this. Life here is a slow grind. The staff shuffle through their shifts in squeaky white sneakers, their voices clipped and impatient. "Eat your lunch, Martha," they say, sliding a tray in front of me. Some kind of gray meat drowning in gravy, a pile of peas so overcooked they're mush. "Time for your pills, Martha," they bark, tossing a little cup of tablets onto my table without so much as a glance my way. I've spent my whole life taking care of people. Frank, when he came home exhausted from the factory. The kids, when they were sick or scared or just needed a hug. Even my own mother when she got too frail to manage alone. And now I'm the one being treated like a child. Like I can't be trusted to know what I need. It's not just humbling. It's humiliating. The kind of shame that settles into your bones and stays there. The other residents aren't much company either. There's a woman down the hall who screams half the night, her voice raw and jagged, like she's fighting ghosts no one else can see. An old man in the common room rocks back and forth, muttering to himself, his eyes cloudy and far away. I tried talking to a few folks when I first got here, asked about their families, their lives, but most of them just stare through me, too worn down to care. I can't blame them. This place drains you, sucks the color out of everything until you're just a shadow of who you used to be. The kids check in just enough to keep their consciences clean, but it's never real. Emily sends a check every few weeks, $200, always the same, tucked into a plain white envelope with no note, no, "How are you, Mom?" Nothing personal, just cold, hard cash, like she's settling a debt she doesn't want to think about. Kyle calls maybe once a month, his voice stumbling over small talk. "Hey, Mom, how you holding up?" he'll ask. But before I can really answer, he's already saying, "Gotta run, talk soon." And the line goes dead. I can hear the relief in his voice when he escapes. Like talking to me is a chore he's glad to check off. Olivia, though, she's the one that cuts deepest. She hasn't reached out once. No calls, no visits, not even a cheap postcard with a "wish you were here" scrawled on it. I keep picturing her, my baby girl with her big brown eyes and that shy smile she got from Frank. And I wonder if she's ashamed of me, or if Emily's got her so tangled up in their plan that she's forgotten I exist. I tell myself she's just busy, that she'll come around, but it's a lie I'm tired of believing. They've all moved on, Emily with her fancy condo downtown, Kyle with whatever he's wasting his share of the house money on, Olivia trailing after them like she always has. I'm the ghost they left behind, haunting a life they don't want to remember. I can't stop replaying that day they sat me down. The day they ripped my world out from under me. It keeps coming back in flashes. Emily at the head of the table, hands folded like she was about to deliver a verdict. Kyle slouched beside her, picking at his sleeve, Olivia staring at the floor like she could disappear into it. "You can't take care of yourself anymore," Emily said, her voice so calm it made my skin crawl. "It's for the best," Kyle added, like he was trying to convince himself. I begged them, cried until my throat burned, but it didn't matter. They saw me at my weakest, grieving Frank, barely holding myself together, and they used it against me. The anger hits me in waves now, hot and sharp, boiling up from somewhere deep inside. I raised them better than this, spent years teaching them right from wrong, showing them what family means. And this is what I get? Shoved into a corner, forgotten, while they cash in on the home we built together? Sometimes I catch myself pacing this tiny room, my fists clenched so tight my nails leave little crescent marks in my palms. I want to scream, to march out of here and demand answers, but I'm stuck, trapped by their choices and my own exhaustion. One afternoon, I'm slumped in the common room, the TV blaring some soap opera I don't care about, when a young nurse named Sarah sits down beside me. She's one of the good ones, curly red hair, freckles across her nose, a smile that feels real. She reminds me of Olivia when she was younger, full of light before the world dulled her edges. "Martha," she says, her voice soft, "I found something today that might interest you." I turn to her, wary but curious. "What's that?" I ask, my throat scratchy from hours of silence. She leans closer, her eyes bright. "I was cleaning out some old files in the office, and I saw your husband's name. Frank, right? He came by here a couple years ago, before I started working. Dropped off a folder, said it was for you, but only if you ever ended up in a place like this." My heart stumbles, a quick, painful thud. "Frank was here?" I say, sitting up straighter. Sarah nods. "Yeah, it was tucked away in storage. I didn't think much of it till I saw your name on the roster. Want me to go grab it?" I nod, my mind racing as she hurries off down the hall. "Frank here?" He never breathed a word about visiting a nursing home. Why would he? He was healthy back then, or so I thought. Still tinkering in the garage, still grumbling about the neighbor's dog. Sarah comes back a few minutes later, carrying a small metal box, rusted at the corners, the kind you might use to store important papers. "It was buried in the closet," she says, handing it to me, handing Atke. "There's a lock, but it's loose. Should pop right open." My hands shake as I take it, the cold metal heavy against my legs. I wait until she's gone, until the room's empty except for the hum of the TV, before I grab a butter knife I'd swiped from the dining room and pry the lid off. Inside, there's a stack of papers, yellowed and creased, and a note on top in Frank's familiar, blocky handwriting. "For Martha, my love, just in case." My breath catches as I unfold the documents beneath it. An insurance policy, life insurance, $3 million, with my name as the sole beneficiary. Dated 5 years ago, signed, notarized, hidden away like a gift he knew I'd need someday. I sit there, the box in my lap, staring at those numbers until my vision blurs. $3 million. Frank did this for me. Quiet, steady Frank, who never liked to make a fuss. He must have known something, felt the ground shifting even back then, even if he couldn't name it. Tears sting my eyes, but they're not just grief this time. There's heat behind them, a spark catching fire. My kids think they've won, think they've washed their hands of me and walked away clean. Emily's probably sipping wine in her high-rise. Kyle's blowing his cash on some toy he'll break in a week. Olivia's letting them pull her along like always. They thought I was the weak one, the old woman they could shove aside and forget. But now I've got this. $3 million they don't even suspect. I lean back in my chair, the papers crinkling under my fingers, and a bitter laugh spills out of me, rough and raw. "Hey, ladies," I say to the empty room, my voice steady for the first time in months. "If you're out there listening, stick with me. Hit that like button, maybe even subscribe. I'd love the company. And if you've ever been kicked down by the people you love most, drop your story in the comments. I want to hear it. We're in this together, aren't we?" I pause, glancing down at the policy again, a smirk tugging at my lips. Because if they think I'm just a burden, let's see how they handle me carrying $3 million. You ever wake up one day and realize the person you've been isn't the person you're meant to be? That's where I am right now, perched on this lumpy mattress at Shady Pines, Frank's metal box still sitting heavy in my lap. $3 million. I keep tracing the numbers with my fingertips, half expecting them to vanish like some cruel trick. But they don't. The papers are real, crisp edges, black ink, Frank's signature scrawled at the bottom next to a notary stamp from 5 years back. My hands don't tremble anymore when I hold them. They're steady, sure, like they've finally remembered what it's like to grip something solid. I've been clutching this secret for 2 days now, sleeping with it under my pillow like a kid hiding a treasure map. At night, when the halls go quiet and the screams from down the corridor fade, I whisper to Frank's photo. "You sly old fox," I say, a grin creeping across my face. "You knew I'd need this, didn't you? Knew I'd need a way out." He doesn't answer, but I can almost see him tipping his head back with that quiet laugh of his, the one that always made me feel like we were in on something together. I'm not one to sit around once I've got my mind set, so the next morning, I stuff the insurance papers into my purse. The only decent thing I've got left, leather-worn soft, from years of carrying groceries and kids' school projects. I pull on my best sweater, the navy one with no holes, and march myself down to the front desk. The receptionist, a young woman with a limp ponytail and chipped purple nail polish, doesn't even look up from her phone. "I need to make a call," I say, planting my hands on the counter, my voice sharp enough to cut through her scrolling. She sighs, long and dramatic, and slides an ancient rotary phone toward me without a word. I fish out a number I haven't dialed in years. Mr. Carter, the lawyer Frank and I hired way back when we bought the house on Maple Street. My fingers fumble a little on the dial, but I get through, and when his voice crackles over the line, it's like a warm breeze on a cold day. "Martha, is that really you?" he asks, surprised but gentle. "It's me, Carter," I say, gripping the receiver tight. "I need your help. Something big's come up. Something Frank left me." An hour later, he's sitting across from me in the common room, his gray suit a little rumpled, but his eyes bright and focused. He's got a notepad balanced on his knee, a pen poised in his hand, and I slide the insurance policy over the chipped formica table like I'm laying down a royal flush. "Take a look at this," I say, leaning back with my arms crossed, watching his face. He adjusts his glasses, peers at the pages, and lets out a low, slow whistle that echoes in the quiet room. $3 million, he says, looking up at me over the rims. "Frank set this up 5 years ago, Martha. It's airtight. Your name's the only one listed as beneficiary. No contest, no loopholes. This money's yours, free and clear." My chest swells, a rush of something hot and fierce flooding through me. Power, maybe? Or just the relief of knowing I've got a way out. "Good," I say, meeting his gaze. "Because I'm done rotting in this place. I want out, Carter, and I want it now." He grins, a spark lighting up his tired face. "Then let's get you out," he says, his pen already scratching across the notepad. "The payout's been sitting in an account since Frank passed. He set it to trigger automatically. I'll have it transferred to you by week's end." I blink at him, stunned. "That fast?" I ask, and he chuckles, a deep, rumbling sound. "That fast. Money like this doesn't mess around. What do you want to do with it, Martha?" I don't even have to think. First, I'm leaving this dump, I say, waving a hand at the faded curtains, the carpet stained with years of neglect. Then I'm buying a house, something nice, something that's mine alone. And after that, well, I've got some ideas. Carter's pen flies across the page, his head nodding like he's been waiting for me to take the reins. Consider it done, he says. I'll handle the details. You just tell me where you want to start. I lean forward, resting my elbows on the table. Start with getting me out of here, I say, and he's already pulling out his phone to make it happen. By the next day, I'm ready to go. Packing doesn't take long. Everything I own fits into that same battered suitcase they dropped me off with. A few sweaters, a pair of slippers worn thin at the heels, Frank's photo wrapped in an old wool scarf I knitted years ago. I don't bother telling the staff I'm leaving. What's the point? They'll notice when they come to shove another tray of mush at me and find an empty bed. Carter sends a car, a sleek black sedan that pulls up outside like something out of a movie. The driver's a young guy in a crisp suit, tipping his hat and calling me ma'am as he opens the door. I almost laugh as I slide into the back seat, the leather cool against my legs. Take me downtown, I tell him, settling in, and he nods without a word. As we pull away, I press my face to the window, watching shady pines shrink in the rear view, its sagging roof, its chipped paint, its air of defeat fading into nothing. The world rushes by outside, strip malls with flickering signs, gas stations with lines of cars, neighborhoods I used to drive through with Frank. And I feel my lungs expand, like I've been holding my breath for months and didn't know it. First stop is a salon downtown, a little place with big windows and a sign that says, "Walk-ins welcome." I push through the door, my purse slung over my shoulder, and the girl at the counter, a 20-something with pink highlights and a nose ring, looks me up and down like I've stumbled into the wrong spot. "Can I help you?" she asks, popping her gum loud enough to make me flinch. "You can," I say, dropping into a chair without waiting for an invite. "Cut this mess off, dye it something bold, and make me look like I mean business." She raises an eyebrow but shrugs, grabbing her scissors, and an hour later, I'm staring at a stranger in the mirror. The gray's gone, replaced with a sleek chestnut bob that skims my shoulders, the kind of cut that says I'm not here to play. My eyes look brighter, sharper, like they've been waiting for this moment. I tip her double what she charges, just because I've got the cash to burn, and walk out with my head high, the wind catching my new hair like a flag. Next up, clothes. I haven't shopped for myself in years. Decades, maybe. Always too busy buying sneakers for the kids or flannel shirts for Frank. But today's different. I hit a boutique a few blocks over, the kind with soft lighting and racks of things I'd never have dared try on before. I pick out a tailored coat, deep green, the kind that hugs my frame and makes me stand straighter. A pair of leather boots with a low heel, soft and sturdy, perfect for walking into a new life. A handful of blouses, crisp white, soft blue, and a necklace with a small emerald pendant, because Frank always said green brought out my eyes. The cashier's jaw drops a little when I slide my new bank card across the counter. Carter had it overnighted to me, linked to an account I still can't believe is mine, and I smile as she bags everything up. "Big day?" she asks, curious. "Big life," I say, grabbing my bags and heading out, the weight of them a reminder of what I'm building. The house is the real prize, though. Carter's hooked me up with a realtor named Linda, a no-nonsense woman with a clipboard and a handshake like a vice. She drives me out to a neighborhood I never thought I'd set foot in. Wide streets, manicured lawns, houses that look like they belong in magazines. "This one's fresh on the market," she says, pulling up to a 2-story place with cream siding, a red front door, and a porch that wraps around the side. Inside, it's everything I didn't know I wanted. Gleaming hardwood floors, high ceilings, a kitchen with granite counters, and a big island I can already see myself cooking at. The living room's got windows that stretch floor to ceiling, spilling light across the space. And there's a backyard with room for a garden, maybe even a little bench where I can sit with my coffee. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, Linda says, ticking off features like a checklist, but I stop her mid-sentence. I'll take it, I say, my voice cutting through hers. She blinks, surprised. Cash offer? She asks, and I nod, feeling the words settle in my chest like a trophy. Cash. Close it fast. She's on the phone before we've even finished the tour, and by nightfall, it's mine. Paid in full, no mortgage, no one else's name on the deed. That evening, I sit on the bare floor of my new living room. No furniture yet, just a blanket I spread out like a picnic. And I let it all sink in. The movers won't come till tomorrow, but I don't care. I've got Frank's photo beside me, unwrapped from its scarf, and a takeout coffee from a shop down the street. The silence is golden, not oppressive like at Shady Pines, and I feel a rush of something wild and free. Joy, maybe, or just the thrill of knowing I've taken my life back. But there's a shadow in it too, a quiet ache that creeps up when I think about the kids. I did it, Frank, I whisper, my voice catching as tears prick my eyes. I got out. I'm starting over. But it still hurts, you know? They threw me away like I was nothing, and I can't figure out where I went wrong. I swipe at my face, push the pain down deep where it can't touch this moment. Not tonight. Tonight's mine, and I'm not letting them steal it. The next morning, I'm up with the sun, standing on my new porch as movers haul in a dining table I ordered online. Big, solid oak, enough seats for a crowd because I've got plans brewing I haven't even named yet. They bring in chairs, a chandelier that sparkles when they hang it, a couch I picked out in a deep blue that feels like home. I sip my coffee, watching it all come together, and I feel the pieces of me clicking back into place. This isn't just a house. It's a fortress, a place where I make the rules. And as I stand there, the morning light warming my face, a thought takes root, sharp and certain. Time to shake things up, I mutter, picturing Emily's smug smile, Kyle's nervous hands, Olivia's downcast eyes. I take another sip, a slow, wicked grin spreading across my lips. Because it's about time they learned how to say sorry. Patience has always been my strength. Decades of raising 3 kids, patching up skinned knees, and keeping a marriage steady through lean years taught me that. But what's burning in me now isn't patience. It's something tougher. Something that took root the day my own children sold our house out from under me and left me to fade away at Shady Pines. Today, my new house is buzzing with life. A hive of activity I've orchestrated down to the last detail. Deliverymen haul in the last of the furniture, a sleek sideboard for the dining room, a plush rug for the living room, while caterers dart around the kitchen, arranging trays of food that fill the air with the smell of roast chicken and garlic. I stand by the island, sipping coffee from a mug I picked myself, white with little blue flowers, simple but mine, and watch it all come together. The dining table's draped in a cream tablecloth, silver candlesticks flickering under the chandelier's glow. There's mashed potatoes with gravy, green beans glistening with butter, a chocolate cake so rich it makes my mouth water just looking at it. This isn't just dinner, it's a stage, and I'm setting it for the performance of a lifetime. The idea hit me a few days ago, while I was unpacking boxes in the living room, surrounded by the quiet of my new life. I'd been thinking about the kids, Emily's icy control, Kyle's weak excuses, Olivia's deafening silence, and the anger I'd shoved down started clawing its way back up. They'd taken everything, the house Frank and I built, the memories tied to every scratched floorboard, and split the money like it was theirs to claim, all while I sat on a secret they couldn't imagine. $3 million, tucked away by Frank, waiting for me to find it. His last gift. His quiet way of saying he'd never leave me empty-handed. I didn't just want to live better than they'd left me. I wanted them to see it, to feel the weight of what they'd done. So I sent the invitations, thick cream envelopes with gold lettering, no address, just a date and time, and my name in bold. A family reunion, I called it, my pen pressing hard into the paper as I wrote. They'd come. Emily out of pride, Kyle out of guilt, Olivia because some part of her still remembers what family means. Let them wonder where, I thought, dropping them in the mailbox with a smirk. Let them squirm. The clock inches toward 7, and I'm ready. I've swapped my old sweaters for a deep red dress I bought on impulse. Long sleeves that drape just right, a hem that brushes my knees. The kind of thing that says, I'm not the broken woman they abandoned. My chestnut hairs swept back, the emerald necklace at my throat catching the light. I passed the hall mirror on my way to the door, and for a moment, I don't know the woman looking back. Tall, sharp, alive. Good, I think, smoothing the fabric. Let them not know me either. The doorbell chimes, a crisp sound that sends my pulse racing, and I take a slow breath. Showtime. Emily strides in first, her heels clicking on the hardwood like she's marking territory. She's in a tailored blazer, charcoal gray, her blonde hair pulled into a tight bun that screams control. Mom, she says, her voice cool and clipped, her eyes sweeping the foyer, high ceilings, polished floors, a vase of fresh lilies on the console. What is this place? Kyle shuffles in behind her, hands jammed in his pockets, his flannel shirt wrinkled and untucked, like he hasn't figured out how to dress for this. Hey, Mom, he mumbles, his gaze darting to the chandelier like it might crash down any second. Olivia slips in last, her coat clutched tight around her slim frame, those big brown eyes flicking up to mine before dropping to the floor. Hi, Mom, she whispers, her voice trembling, and I catch the guilt in it, the crack I've been waiting for. I smile, wide and warm, like this is just another Sunday dinner. Come in, I say, stepping aside with a sweep of my arm. Dinner's ready, let's eat. They follow me to the dining room, their steps slow, uncertain, and I can feel the tension rolling off them like heat from a stove. The table's set for 4, plates gleaming white, wine glasses sparkling in the soft light. They sit, Emily at one end, claiming her spot like always. Kyle and Olivia across from each other, fidgeting with their napkins. I take my place at the head, folding my hands in my lap, and let the silence settle in. This is nice, Kyle says after a moment, his voice awkward, poking at the silverware like it's foreign. Where'd you get the money for this, Mom? Emily shoots him a look, her lips thinning, but I just laugh, light and breezy. Oh, we'll get to that, I say, reaching for the wine bottle. Let's eat first. I had this catered, figured we deserved something special tonight. I pour their glasses, red wine glinting like rubies, and they start eating. Cautious bites at first, then hungrier as the food hits their plates. I watch them, sipping my own wine, letting the quiet stretch until it's thick enough to choke on. Halfway through, when the plates are scraped clean and the cake's been cut, I set my glass down and pull an envelope from beside my plate, old, creased, with Frank's blocky handwriting scrawled across the front. I've got something to share, I say, my voice cutting through the clatter of forks like a knife. They look up, movements freezing. Emily mid-sip, Kyle with a forkful of cake, Olivia clutching her napkin. I open the envelope, slide out a single sheet of paper, and start reading aloud. Martha, my love, I begin, and my throat tightens just a fraction. If you're reading this, I'm gone, and things might have gotten rough. I set something up for you. A policy, $3 million, because I knew you'd need it someday. You're the strongest person I know, but even the strong need a hand. I didn't tell the kids because I trusted you to decide what's right. The ones who really love you won't leave you alone. I stop, folding the letter with deliberate care, and lift my eyes to their faces. Emily's gone rigid, her glass hovering near her lips. Kyle's mouth hangs open, a crumb of cake stuck to his chin. Olivia's eyes are wide, glistening, her hands trembling in her lap. $3 million, I say, letting the words drop like stones into still water. Your father left it for me. Not you, not anyone else, just me. It's been sitting there, waiting, while you sold our house, split the cash, and dumped me at Shady Pines like I was nothing. My voice stays even, but there's an edge to it now, cold and unyielding. Emily recovers first, setting her glass down with a sharp clink. You're saying you've had this the whole time? She asks, her tone sharp, like I'm the one who's betrayed her. No, I say, locking eyes with her. I found it after you left me there, rotting in that hole. Took me a while to figure out what to do with it. This house, this dinner, this life. It's all mine now. Kyle shifts, his chair creaking. Mom, we didn't mean... He starts, but I cut him off, my gaze swinging to him. Didn't mean to what, Kyle? To treat me like I was already dead? To walk away without a backward glance? Olivia breaks first, a sob bursting out of her like a dam giving way. She drops her fork with a clatter, covers her face with her hands, and chokes out, I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't want to. I told them it wasn't right, but they wouldn't listen. Emily snaps her head toward her, eyes flashing. Olivia, don't, she says, her voice a warning. But Olivia shakes her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. No, Em, it's true. We were awful to her. I hated it, but I didn't stop it. Kyle's staring at his plate, his shoulders hunched like he's trying to disappear, and Emily's lips press into a thin, hard line. I lean back, watching them fall apart, and it's almost satisfying. Almost. There's a flicker of the old me, the one who'd rush to dry their tears, but I smother it. They don't get that version of me tonight. I stand, smoothing my dress, and grab a stack of papers from the sideboard. Copies of the policy, proof in black and white. Here's the thing, I say, dropping them onto the table with a soft thud that echoes in the silence. I'm not here to fight. I'm not even here to yell. But I'm done being the mother you walk all over. If you want to be in my life, if you want any part of this, you've got to earn it back. I pause, letting the weight of that settle, then smile, thin and tight. You've got choices to make. If you want to step forward with me, you'll need to learn how to be my kids again. Really be my kids. Otherwise, this door stays open, but I won't chase you through it. I turn, heading for the kitchen, my heels clicking on the floor, leaving them there with their half-eaten cake and their guilt. In the kitchen, I lean against the counter, my heart hammering against my ribs. I hear Olivia's muffled sobs, Kyle muttering something low and strained, Emily's chair scraping as she shifts but doesn't stand. The air feels thick, charged, like the moment before a storm breaks. I pour myself another glass of wine, the liquid trembling slightly as it fills the glass, and take a slow, steadying breath. This isn't the end. Not yet. They're shaken, cracking under the truth I've laid bare. But I'm not done. I've got more to give, more to demand, and I'll wait to see how they play their hands. I glance back toward the dining room, the light spilling out into the hall, and a flicker of something fierce sparks in my chest. Let's see what they do with that, I murmur to myself, lifting the glass to my lips. Because this old lady's just getting started. The kitchen counter is cool against my palms as I stand there, wine glass in hand, listening to the echoes of the dining room behind me. Olivia's sobs have quieted to hiccups. Kyle's muttering has faded into silence, and Emily's chair hasn't scraped again. I take a sip, letting the warmth of the wine settle into my chest, and I feel it, the shift. Last night, I dropped a bomb on my kids, laid bare the truth of Frank's $3 million secret and the betrayal they thought they'd buried. I walked away from that table not as the mother they'd discarded, but as the woman I'm becoming, someone who doesn't bend anymore. Now, in the stillness, I wait. I've given them a choice, a chance to step up or step out, and whatever happens next, I'm ready for it. For the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid of what they'll do. Morning light spills through the kitchen windows the next day, soft and golden, painting the granite counters in warm streaks. I'm up early, brewing coffee in a pot that hums quietly on the counter, the smell filling the air with something steady and familiar. I didn't sleep much, kept replaying their faces in my head, the way Olivia crumbled, the way Kyle shrank, the way Emily's mask slipped just enough to show a crack. I'd spent so long feeling like I'd lost them, like I'd failed as a mother, but last night flipped that upside down. They didn't break me. They woke me up. I pull Frank's photo from my purse, set it on the table beside my mug, and trace his face with my finger. "You'd be proud of me, Frank," I whisper, a small smile tugging at my lips. I stood my ground. Now let's see if they can stand theirs. The doorbell rings an hour later, and I open it to find Olivia on the porch, her coat draped over her arm, her eyes red-rimmed but clear. She doesn't wait for me to speak, just steps forward and wraps her arms around me, tight and trembling. "I'm so sorry, Mom," she says into my shoulder, her voice thick with tears. "I should have fought harder. I should have come to see you. I was scared, and I let them drag me along, but I hate myself for it." I hold her back, my hands steady on her shoulders, and for a moment, I'm just a mother again, feeling my baby girl's heartbeat against mine. "I know, honey," I say, pulling back to look at her. "I saw it in your eyes last night. You're here now. That's what matters." She nods, wiping her face with her sleeve, and steps inside, her shoulders a little straighter. Kyle shows up that afternoon, his truck rumbling into the driveway, his hands fidgeting as he stands at the door. "Hey, Mom," he says, his voice low, his eyes darting to the floor. "Can we talk?" I nod, leading him to the living room, where the new blue couch sits under the big windows. He sinks into it, elbows on his knees, and stares at his hands. "I messed up," he says finally, the words spilling out like they've been trapped too long. "Emily made it sound so easy, like we were doing you a favor, selling the house, putting you somewhere safe. I didn't think it through. I just followed her, like always. Seeing you last night, with all this..." He waves a hand at the room. "It hit me how wrong we were." I sit across from him, my coffee cooling in my hands, and let him talk. "I want to fix it," he says, looking up at me for the first time. "I don't know how, but I want to try." I nod, slow and deliberate. "That's a start, Kyle," I say. "We'll figure it out together." Emily's the holdout, like I knew she would be. 2 days pass with no word, no call, no knock, just silence. I'm not surprised. She's always been the one to dig in her heels, to double down rather than admit she's wrong. But I'm not chasing her. I've spent too many years running after them, smoothing things over, making it easy. This time, she'll have to come to me, or she won't come at all. I keep busy, planting bulbs in the backyard, hanging curtains in the guest rooms, turning this house into a home that's mine alone. Olivia stops by again, bringing a pie she baked, her hands nervous as she sets it on the counter. Kyle calls, awkward but earnest, asking if I need help with anything. They're trying, in their own ways, and it's enough for now, enough to start healing the cracks. A week later, I'm in the dining room, sketching out my next move, when the doorbell rings again. It's Emily this time, standing stiffly on the porch, her blazer swapped for a sweater, her hair loose for once. "Can I come in?" she asks, her voice tight, no trace of the command she usually carries. I step aside, letting her into the foyer, and she stops, taking in the space, the lilies, the chandelier, the life I've built without her. "I've been thinking," she says, crossing her arms like she's holding herself together. "About what you said, about Dad's letter." She pauses, her jaw working, and I wait, silent. "I didn't see it," she says finally, her voice cracking just a little. "How much we hurt you. I thought we were doing the right thing, practical, logical. But I was wrong. I don't know how to fix it, but I don't want to lose you." It's not an apology, not fully, but it's the closest she's ever come, and I see the effort in it, the struggle behind her pride. I lead them all back to that dining table a few days later. Olivia, Kyle, Emily, all three together for the first time since that night. The air's thick with tension, but there's something else too. Hope, maybe, or just the raw edge of starting over. "Here's how this is going to work," I say, my voice firm but calm, laying out 3 folders I've prepared. "I'm not cutting you out, not yet, but you've got work to do. 3 months, volunteer shifts at Shady Pines. You'll see what you left me to. Feel it for yourselves. After that, we'll talk about what family means." Olivia nods immediately, her eyes earnest. Kyle swallows hard but agrees, his hands steady for once. Emily hesitates, her fingers tapping the table, then gives a curt nod. "Okay," she says, and it's enough. The showdown comes when Emily balks on the last day. Olivia and Kyle have put in their time, awkward hours serving meals, sitting with residents, learning what I lived through. Emily's done most of hers too, but that final shift, she doesn't show. I'm in the living room when Olivia and Kyle arrive, their faces tired but open, ready to move forward. "Where's your sister?" I ask, and Kyle shrugs, uneasy. "She said she couldn't do it," Olivia whispers, her voice small. I take a breath, set my coffee down, and smile. Not bitter, just clear. "Then she's made her choice," I say, standing. I walk to the table, hug Olivia tight, pull Kyle into it too, and let Emily's absence settle like dust. "You two are enough," I tell them, stepping back. "We'll build from here." Weeks later, I'm in the backyard, planting roses under the afternoon sun, dirt under my nails, and Frank's photo on the porch table nearby. The house is mine now, really mine, filled with my choices, my peace. Olivia's has started visiting regular, bringing stories and laughter. Kyle's helping me fix up the garage, his hands finding purpose. Emily's still out there, silent, but I'm not waiting anymore. I've lost my husband, lost the family I thought I had, but I've found something better. Myself. I sit back on my heels, wiping sweat from my brow, and look at the roses taking root. "I'm free, Frank," I murmur, a quiet truth settling in my bones. And I'm not alone. I think back to that first night at Shady Pines, whispering to Frank's photo about how they'd kicked me out. Now here I am, standing tall in a life they didn't expect. There's a twist in it, though. Emily's choice to walk away wasn't the end I planned, but it's the one I can live with. "Hey, ladies," I say to the air, my voice soft but strong. "Thanks for sticking with me through this mess. If you've ever been hurt by family, if you've ever had to rebuild from nothing, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you feel like it, because I'm not done yet. There's more to come, and I'd love you along for the ride. See you next time. I pause, glancing at the empty chair where Emily might have sat, and add, sometimes the ones you lose make room for the ones who stay.